The era of just releasing a demo to hype people for your game is drawing to a close. Now developers are coming up with bite-sized, original stuff like Dead Rising Case Zero to get people invested early and interested in the real deal. Dead Space 2 is no exception, and to make sure you're thinking about pre-ordering Isaac Clarke's next adventure, EA is putting out Dead Space Ignition. This is a choose-your-own-adventure story where all you're really doing is taking part in 3 mini-games in between story segments that play out as a moving comic. It documents what went wrong on the Sprawl, from the perspective of Franco the engineer and his gun-toting girlfriend Sarah. Sadly, Ignition doesn't hold a candle to the awesome bits of Dead Space 2 we've seen so far.
You hear that?
Hear what?
First and foremost, the art is crappy, and that's troublesome for a game that's mostly driven by its story and presentation. I'm no artist, nor am I an art critic, but Dead Space Ignition's everyone's faces melting motif really doesn't do it for me. Hands can be triangles, faces are blobs, and proportions are problematic. Luckily, the voice acting is good and helps you connect with the characters.
You see, that wasn't so hard.
That's what she said.
Careful, Officer Anderson. I might report you for sexual harassment.
Also, the story branches twice in a playthrough, so there's a reason to play it again. Sadly, then you have to look at the characters and you're sucked right out of the experience. Again, the only thing you're doing in Dead Space Ignition, besides choosing which path to take every so often, is playing one of 3 hacking minigames. And none of them are all that entertaining. One is like a tower defense game where you're the attacker. Another is a line race against computer opponents trying to stop your hack. And the third is all about you placing and turning mirrors to bounce colored lights to the right receivers. For most of the tower defense missions, I just spammed my attackers until I won.
System access transferred.
For the mirror ones, I rotated like mad and was generally bored. For the racing game, I have really nothing good or bad to say. I navigated a line like I was a light cycle in Tron. The end. None of these games hooked me or made me look forward to playing Dead Space Ignition. I wanted to know the story of Franco and Sarah, but I didn't really want to deal with all the busy work to get there. There are local multiplayer modes and online leaderboards for each hack, but they do little to make the game any more interesting.
Unauthorized access terminated.
Dead Space Ignition is another look at the expanded Dead Space universe. That's cool, but it doesn't mean it's good. The art's flat and the game is boring. I like the story of the Sprawl descending into chaos, but I have no desire to be lying on the couch daydreaming about other games while I rotate mirrors on a circuit board, and that's exactly what happened here. Sure, the game's free if you pre-order Dead Space 2, it's $5 if you don't. But Dead Space Ignition isn't anything to bother with unless you have time to kill or desperately need to have the cool-looking suit beating Ignition unlocks for Isaac in Dead Space 2. For everything Necromorph related, check out IGN.com.